Welcome to the Friendly Nonsense Beatdown. This is a podcast all about friendly fire and gibberish, where three brothers compete in a quest to be the supremeliest nonsenser. Here are your hosts, Kevin, Corey, and Casey Walker.
So welcome in to the Brodilogue. This is the show after the show for the Friendly Nonsense Beatdown. Corey is unfortunately gone today because he is doing seminary work and he could not be spared for today. But you get Casey and I, and it's basically a casual version of what the show is. So we just get to chat, get to talk to each other about what's going on. We've got a subject usually that we like to talk about for the day. And today we are going to be talking about how we met our wives and how we got together with them. So I was thinking about this, and I met Amy, my wife, back in maybe it was 2009?
Yeah, well, I think we both had kind of
that.
more boring, I guess, meeting stories. I mean, not boring. I mean, anytime you meet your significant other, your wife, that's a significant time. But
yeah, I think for me though, mine wasn't as boring the way we got together because she ended up being, I always joke around, she was my boss. She told me what to do. We worked together at the same company, and we were at a security company, and she was the office manager and I was one of the sales guys there. And she would often give me my work orders for the day and tell me what to do, and I was very attracted to her at that point. And I wrote her a letter.
Attracted to power.
Yes, I was attracted to the power she held.
The power. That was years though after you met.
Yeah,
that's more where you developed
together.
your relationship more.
Yep. She had no interest in me. She's almost 6 years older than me. She's about 5.5 years older than me, and she had no interest in this young kid working. I was only 18, and I wrote her a letter that expressed my love for her. Have you heard this story before?
I haven't heard this story before. I'm all ears on this one.
I wrote a letter to her saying that I loved her, and that I mean, if she didn't feel the same way, I just couldn't stand to be around her any longer because it was driving me crazy. And we got together after that point. We got in a relationship, and that was the reason I went to Tennessee. Did you know that? Just to kind of think through things.
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I knew why you went to Tennessee, but I didn't know specifically why.
Yep.
You
so
went to Tennessee
after
a month.
I was in Tennessee for about 2 months, and I had gotten to that point where I was in a relationship with her for about 6 months after I wrote that letter, and then Mom and Dad talked to me and said, well, why don't you take some time away and just be away from her and see if this is really what you want. So I spent 2 months in Tennessee. Really got a chance to be separated from her for a while, and I realized, nope, this is the person I want to marry. And I got down on one knee pretty much the day I got back, a couple weeks, and asked her to marry me.
I remember that.
Yep, asked her to marry me. And the rest
she
of
said no. She said yes.
Yep. We've been very happily married ever since. We've got a great relationship. I've been really happy with our marriage.
How many years are you in at this point?
We're almost up to 8 years now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Good long time.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah, it is because it was 2013. It was January 2013.
Yep, just the very beginning of 2013, January 5th. So 7.5
crazy.
years. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelsey and I, actually, 2 days ago, we just hit 5 years.
That's crazy, too.
Yeah.
That's a good long time.
It is crazy. Yeah, and we met at church, so it was kind of, we were really young, too. I mean, we were 13, I think. So
you guys met?
Yeah. So we were youngins. And obviously at 13, we didn't know we wanted to marry each other at that point in time. And actually, one of the first things I remember saying to her was, "How old are you?" Classic pickup line right there.
Guess how old I am.
I'm older than you? No way! I was very excited. I was older than her by like 3 months.
Is that only you're older
Yeah,
than her?
exactly 3
That's
months
so
older
funny.
than her. Yep. I was very excited as a 13-year-old boy. Well, partly because when I first met her, she had already gone through her growth spurt, so she was like, and she was really good with her sisters as well, who were young at that point. So I just thought that she had to be like 16 or 17. And
was she taller than you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was 13. I didn't have my growth spurt until I was 15. I was a shrimpy guy. I looked like I was 9 still. You've seen pictures of me from around there. I look tiny. So she was a little surprised that I was older than her too.
When did you fall for her? Like, when was
Oh man, it's hard to pinpoint at a specific time because it was kind of over time, but
Yeah.
definitely by the time I was 15, I was like all in on Kelsey. She wasn't quite sure on her end yet whether or not I liked her, but she liked me. So it was a mutual attraction at that point. But I mean, we're 15, so it's like, I mean, you know how it is. But 16, she knew I liked her. I knew. She knew I liked her. I knew she liked me. There we go. I got it.
Did you guys tell each other that you liked each other?
Yes, we did at that point. So we knew, and at that point it was just like, okay, we need to be old enough, clearly, to get
We're not
married,
getting
but
at 16 years
we're
old.
getting married when the chance comes around, so it was just a matter of getting everything in order.
Were you
So-
younger than me when you got married? So I was 20.
I was
So-
19 when we were both 19 when we got married.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
you can
I
do
was
the
about
math and figure out how
about
old I
20
am.
years old when we got married. When did you get married? What year?
2015. Yeah, 2015.
Yeah. So you were just 19. When you got married.
Yeah, I was 3 months into 19. Kelsey had literally just turned 19 like a few weeks
So
before.
you were
we
young.
were really young. And I actually had a semester of college left, and that was an interesting semester because we got pregnant right off the bat.
And
And,
you're doing college.
and I was having the worst semester of my college career. And yeah, I was taking way too much, and I was working part-time, and
man.
she was pregnant and with really bad morning sickness.
Yeah.
So that's
miserable.
yeah.
That's a crazy
Man,
start.
that the low point of that semester was when Kelsey was so sick with morning sickness that she couldn't really get up, and she get up off the couch, and she wasn't drinking enough water,
Yeah.
and I wasn't there to help her out because I was at school all day,
Yeah.
and she got super dehydrated, and she has migraines periodically, and she had the worst migraine of her life. Thankfully, right when she was having it when I was away, but the worst of it came when I was at home. And I mean, I was freaked out because it was the first migraine I'd had with her, actually, or one of the first ones. It's definitely worse than anything we've had since, thankfully. But yeah, she literally was having stroke symptoms. She couldn't speak properly.
Wow.
She was slurring her speech. She couldn't move her arm.
Oh.
So, and I was looking, I mean, you look online and you look WebMD. WebMD's like, oh, you have cancer. You're dying, you know? I was like, but I mean, it lined it up perfectly with stroke. Because migraines and strokes are really similar. Because migraine is like a restriction of blood flow in your brain.
Yeah.
Whereas stroke is like closing off blood flow in your
Yeah.
brain is, I believe, the difference. So they're really close. It's just a slight difference in severity.
Yeah.
And yeah, Corey and Hannah helped me take her to the hospital and man, thankfully it was just dehydration, so they got her an IV, and then she was feeling better after that. But man, that was the low point of that semester. But it's only been up from there. It's been a great marriage.
Get the rough stuff out in the very first months of marriage. And
well, and the one thing I'm really thankful for is we never had trouble with each other during that time. It brought us closer together, even though it was rough.
It's funny. We've both changed through our marriages. I think that for you, just watching you and Kelsey, you've definitely, both of you have actually, ironically, you were both very stubborn people when you got married, but you guys have both mellowed each other out a lot in marriage, and you guys have become a good power couple, a good team.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are good too, after all.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Even though you guys are sometimes in Idaho and we're out here.
Yeah, but no, it's I'll answer for Corey since he's not here and he won't get a chance to answer. I'll briefly tell his and Hannah's story. He and Hannah have been together, knowing that they've liked each other since practically they were born.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're more similar to our Kelsey's and my story. They started a little earlier than we did, I think.
Mm-hmm. They were, like 13, 14 as well. And I remember a ski trip where they were flirting with each other. And I called Corey out and I was like, Corey, you gotta stop flirting with Hannah. He was probably 17 years old. And Corey went and apologized to Hannah for flirting with her. And of course, that was like the in a girl's mind, I'm sure that's like, oh man, he apologized for flirting with me? That makes me want him even more. So I remember that time, and I mean, we all knew. I mean, the whole church knew Corey and Hannah were going to get married as soon as they were old enough, and sure enough, they did.
Yeah.
And they've been together for so long now. I don't even remember how they probably got together at family camp or like a Jeunesse Park homeschool camp, something like that. They were paired.
I think some of the camps that we did was when like they really were closer in proximity and spending a lot of time together, and that's a natural way to develop a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that's where a lot of my memories with Hannah's brothers and their family comes from, and Amy's too.
Yep.
Because Amy and Hannah are our sisters.
Yeah. Yep. So for those who don't know, Corey got married after me, so I got first dibs, and I chose the best, and then he chose second best. I'm kidding. But it is fantastic that we got to marry sisters, so it's really fun. And one thing I was going to say too, real quick, and we'll end, is that it's funny because everybody with Amy and I said that we were exact opposites, and we wouldn't make it work because she's 6 years older than me. She's very... Not anymore. I laugh when I say this, but she's very shy and reserved.
Yeah.
And she's more of an introvert, and I'm much more of an extrovert and outgoing. But it's so funny because as soon as we got married, and even before we got married, like first I would say about 6 months were rough, just trying to communicate with each other because we were so different. As soon as we got through that, I cannot imagine a better marriage than ours.
Yeah.
Because we pair so well because we fill the other one's gaps, and we can work together well. And now we're at a point where we're literally thinking the exact same thing. And I always joke that we're the exact same person now. She's way more extroverted. Honestly, she's probably more extroverted than I am these days.
Well, that's how it is once you get married, right? You take on bits and pieces of their personalities. They take on parts of yours.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, hindsight is 20/20 because I remember thinking the same thing. It's like, man, they're so different. How is this gonna work? But I honestly, I mean, looking at it, I can't imagine a better person than Amy to be your wife. I mean, she mellows you out a little bit.
Yep.
And, I mean, that's the beauty of marriage, you know.
Yep.
And if you go with it, just wanting to put in to the marriage and not. And being sacrificial and just focusing on loving the other person and looking to ways to serve them, then I think that's the key to
I think that's a good point.
Happy marriage.
Is that everybody goes into it thinking like, oh, marriage is 50-50. No, it's not 50-50.
100-100.
Yep, it's 100-100. Like, you have to not expect the other person to reciprocate. Hopefully they will. But your goal is to be sacrificial in your marriage, no matter what the other person does. And ultimately, your actions will influence the other person if you're struggling in your marriage to better actions. And it breeds so much love and respect down the road if you're both giving 100% to your marriage versus a 50-50 split.
Well, and that's what I'm super thankful with, and I know Amy is the same way. Is they're very devoted wives, and they are. I mean, my wife is fantastic, 10 out of 10, and they put in. My wife puts in 100%, and that's what keeps the family going strong.
Yep.
Keeps the house together.
So that's it for the Brodilogue for today. Tune in next week. Next Monday, we've got Mayhem Matchup. That's it for this week. We will see you next time. Take care.